What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Inside the Mind of a Blur. This is a special episode where we're going to review a movie. I am joined by two main MCs. I don't want to call them MCs and disrespect they co-hosts, but you know, my pod, they know what it is. I'm the MC. But the MCs of their pods, respectfully, Aaron from Black Anime and Melodic from Geek World Podcast. Go ahead and say what's up, boys.
Yo, what's good, yo? AKA Mr. Fill in the Blank. Dang, I cannot think of it on the fly. It's all right though. We still ball.
You got your spiel down?
Oh. I'm gonna come back with a rebound though. It's cool though. But glad to be here, host of the Geek World Podcast.
Yes,
Back
sir.
with nothing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is this? Number 3? Number 4? You done been on? And then Aaron is just.
I'm the best guest y'all ever had. What you talking about?
Aaron is motherfucking the fucking Iron Fist of our shit.
Oh, God.
He's a defender. But
what's good, y'all? It's Aaron, aka the Anime Anthology, aka the Lost Homie from the Black Anime Podcast, BLX6K Anime. Also YouTube and Instagram. We've been doing a lot more Instagram than anything else lately. But yeah, that's who I am. Always have to be on here. Like I said, I'm the best guest I've ever had. I'm always on here. Wow. I'm at least on here once a month. I'm just saying, right. Yeah.
You familiar, whatever. And then possibly, still not sure we're playing it by ear, but we're gonna have Tell from Mike Check Waifu jumping in.
Waifu.
Pull up. You know what I'm saying? If he can't, we understand. You know, it be happening. Life be lifing. But we are actually going to review the movie Entergalactic. It came out almost like 3 weeks now. 3 weeks ago now.
Longer than that, I feel like.
It's been longer than that.
Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like it though.
I don't know. But I was like, man, we got to do a review for this. But at the same time, I didn't want to do it too early. I want to give people a chance to watch it and everything like that. But this shit was phenomenal. And I just was like, man, we need to do a review for it. So
yes,
I see y'all talking about it on the timeline. And I was like, let me go ahead and hit y'all up, you know what I'm saying, and see if y'all was down to do it. So I was like, let's go ahead and do this. So without further ado, we're going to review Entergalactic. If you have not seen the movie Entergalactic, it is on Netflix. Go watch it. Press pause right now. You do not want to hear what we're going to say because we are not holding back. We're doing all spoilers. And yeah, man. So pause for like 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, if you still here, it's your fault. So Entergalactic is a movie starring Kid Cudi, T.Y. Dollar Sign. What's her name? Jennifer. I don't want to say her name wrong. So let me make sure I pull up her name. But and then it's got Jessica Williams, not Jennifer Williams. Jessica Williams, Kid Cudi, Lori Harrier, T.Y. Dollar Sign, and Timothy Chalamet. That's the dude from Dune. I don't know if you guys seen Dune, but he's the MC. He's the main character from the movie Dune. That shit actually looks like the movie was fire, and it looked like it's gonna be a nice trilogy because they already.
You mean like the game one based on the game?
DUNE? I don't know if it's based on the game.
Dune. I thought you said Doom.
No,
I said Doom. I was like,
no, Dune is on HBO Max. It's like the desert sand movie. That shit is crazy. If y'all haven't seen the first movie, y'all need to go watch this shit. It's got Jason Momoa.
Untitled Opinion again. That movie was so boring, bro. I gotta watch it again. But I've
You
tried
didn't
twice.
like Dune?
I tried twice and I fell asleep within the first 30 minutes both times. Maybe I just was a little tired. I don't know, man.
That shit was
definitely. I'll add it to my hit list.
Yeah, it's got Zendaya, Oscar Isaac, Jason
Zendaya for 20 seconds. Zendaya's in it for like 20 seconds. Totally.
It's a trilogy. They already. It's like Lord of the Rings. They already pretty much made it. So,
I just don't want to set expectations. All right.
Josh Brolin is in it. They got a squad in there. They got a nice little cast in there, and I'm like, well, this shit to be a trilogy, and they already got like a super cast in that whole. I'm actually excited to see what they're gonna do with it. I like Lord of the Rings and shit like that. So the fact that it got announced as a trilogy, I was like, yeah, I'm already hyped to see what it's gonna be. But yeah, we went off topic. Um, but anyway, so the movie Intergalactic. Um, let's do first thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Like thoughts without spoilers. Just tell us your overall thoughts of the movie and how y'all felt about it. Start with Mello. Go ahead.
Well, I thought the movie was really it was executed really well, especially that it's telling the tale of to like a romance, but also it's like it's an adult film. It feels like yeah, it's animated, but we don't really see too many animated adult films, especially in our demographic.
Mhm.
And when like all the characters and everything that it does, it like makes sense, and the structure of the plot, I feel like it's trying to convey what it was trying to tell in the story. It was entertaining overall, so I had a blast watching it. I wouldn't mind rewatching it again, and plus like the art style and everything is just like like how they. I think I was scrolling on Facebook and they said like they try to make the characters look like the voice actors. I thought it was a cool, nice touch to it. So I really say it's very creative though, and it comes off very original. So I fuck with that too.
Yeah, like I don't know what studio did it, but it was based off of a famous painter. The art style for Intergalactic too.
Yeah,
So you speak of that art style. I don't know what it. I think it's I can't remember who it is, but it's a Japanese pop artist, like graffiti artist, and they was basing it off of that art style. Um, but yeah, like the movie overall to me, like the same thing. It's a love story, and it was just like it kind of felt like it wasn't like a forced love story. It was more so of like the pieces fell into place type love story. And it was just one of them things where it was like it just happened naturally. It wasn't like a whole bunch of, like where you got to deal with the bad just to get to the good type stuff or whatever with the relationship. It actually felt like a really good love story. Um,
yeah, it wasn't like cliche or nothing. It just felt so organic.
yeah, it was
Okay,
like
I go with it. It was a little cliche. It was a little cliche. That's not
cliche.
like it
What?
wasn't.
I,
Cliche. See, cliche isn't a bad word, right? We treat
Mhm.
cliche as a bad word. I don't think. I think it being cliche was a strength, not a weakness, because there's nothing about this movie that surprised. That's I got my opinion. That surprised me. Right? We knew we could from the trailers. We knew who was going to be the main love interest. We knew they was going to get together when they were room when they were neighbors. We knew that somehow they was going to meet. He fell in love at first sight. She fell in love at first sight. It wasn't anything I would say is that makes it like a super original love story. But I don't think it being cliche is bad. I think we sometimes we think of cliche as a bad word when it's not a bad word. No story is truly original. Every story has cliches. It's how they handle them and use them, and either that makes them good or bad. And I think that this is like your really well produced animated Hallmark movie that
Mhm.
is that because Hallmark is all cliche. People love Hallmark. It's all cliches. You can watch a Hallmark movie for 3 minutes and be like, yeah, so them two are going to get together. They're going to love each other, have
I
kids.
mean, but
All right.
if it's
So
a
that
love
so
story, you know the two people that are gonna get
yeah,
together.
but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's.
That's
I
not
don't think it.
cliche. I think
I don't.
that's predictable in a
Well,
sense. But
I don't think the way the story went. There's a few lines I think they used toward the end of the movie. Two of them which made me laugh just because it was two of the most cliche lines you hear in any story. It's when the main character Kid Cudi he's talking to his sister and she says something around like love finds a way. But the what she actually said is bar for bar what I've heard in other movies. And
she
then the other
said love is best when it happens
by accident or
by
something like that,
accident.
which
Yeah,
is actually the name of like a movie, like Accidental Love or something like that. And one of the
love.
characters says that word for word, and then the girl's friend says this when she's at her art show, outside her art show. She said something to her too, which was word for word what I've heard from another like romance movie. Like I like again, like I don't think it's bad that it is that it did that. Again,
Mhm.
it elicited a response to me. Like it wasn't a response like, oh man, it's just really y'all did that. It was response like, oh wow, that's kind of funny. Like that's kind of cool. But like, yeah, it was like I still don't think like it having cliche moments or it being your typical romance in the sense that not really unpredictable. There's nothing that's really fully really exacerbating the romance in a way. Like it was a traditional love story, and I think that's fine. Like I don't think that's necessarily a problem. But yeah.
I, um,
I feel like really like when I bring up like cliche, I think like sort of like in the realms of like being like cheesy or trying to. It felt like it's trying to do its own thing.
yeah.
Ma- Mainly like, of course, like there's always going to be some type of like elements of inspiration, but I feel like it mainly tried to be its own thing.
Yeah, I really appreciated the fact that if you don't watch the trailer, because I didn't watch the trailer, I just pressed play. You know what I'm saying? So I just went straight into the movie. And if you watch the movie or whatever, the way that I did, because I ended up watching it 3 or 4 times. So when you first meet the ex girlfriend going into the movie blindly, you're thinking this is what it's going to be. Like they're rekindling a flame, things like that. And then on my second and third rewatch, I never even picked up on the fact that he ran into the girl, the main, girl or whatever love interest. He ran into her like 3 or 4 different times before he actually noticed her. Like there's a time where like when he's first coming down the stairs, he's carrying like a statue or something, so it's in his face, and
Yeah,
they
and
can't see each other.
she walks by
Yeah,
him outside the elevator. Yeah,
yeah, they cross paths, and then there's another time where they bump into each other, and then even when he sees the ex girlfriend, I think he walks kind of like past the restaurant or something like that, and the girl, the love interest, comes out with her friend, like
Mhm.
walks past them or whatever. So I thought that was pretty cool that they like kind of crossed paths a few times before they actually noticed each other. And then even at the end of the first chapter or whatever, like the taxi cab driver almost hits him on the bike or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's like another situation where they almost met. And I thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was unique or whatever. I thought it was better the second time I watched it when I was like, oh, okay, he's seen this girl like a couple of times and they never even noticed each other. And I thought that was dope because when they finally do notice each other and they see each other, like Aaron said, it was like love at first sight type shit. Like it was like, dang, where'd she come from? They even played the little song, the Angel song, which is something that I really liked about this too. The soundtrack for this was fire.
Yeah,
It's Kid Cudi, so
most
what do
definitely.
you expect? What do you expect? But I thought the soundtrack was pretty fire in the way that they placed the music and stuff like that because I know like this is an original soundtrack, but then they also had some of Kid Cudi's older songs dropped in there every now and then too because they had the song with Andre 3000 at the beginning. I know that song is from like his second or third album or something like that, and then they had another one that they dropped in there like towards the middle or something like that with him and Ty or whatever. That wasn't actually on the album original song.
well, I think for the music wise, I mean, each chapter corresponds kind of like to at least one or two of each song. In because I actually after I watched the movie, I listened to the whole soundtrack, and I listened to the soundtrack as I'm pretty sure as he wants you to. It takes you again through the movie without watching it. So
Mm-hmm.
like, because after watching the movie at night, I was like, I'm gonna listen to the soundtrack at the same time. As to the soundtrack, you can kind of picture the movie in your head as you're watching it through
Mm-hmm.
like as you're listening to this. So like as you go through each chat, like I think the music was really good. That's one of my favorite parts. The music fit. It honestly, in my way, I still, even though this is a movie, animated movie, in a lot of ways, it always also reminded me of what we used to get, like a full, visual for his album. That's it. In a way, it felt like that. With like, you can see how he built the songs. It perfectly frames every situation that happens in the movie. So it kind of
Mm-hmm.
felt like in a way like he made the songs first, and then said, let's make this movie to fit this album I'm making.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it felt like to me when I was watching it, which is fine. I think it was done really well. Like the music is so good. Like, and yeah, there's so much I can say. I don't want to take up all the time, but there's so much I can say about it, just from
Yeah.
like the music and
Speak.
the way it fit, the animations like that. I think the cinematography and how it fits with the music really worked too. When we have that one part when they're the first time when they're partying, before he's partying with the main love interest, and there's a certain parts, and that's a song he plays that's with him and him and the other main guy that's an artist.
T.Y. Dolla $ign.
Ty, yeah, Ty Dolla $ign. That is on the album.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like certain parts of the beat drops or it changes like that, and it corresponds to how it's working in the animation, and it fits cinematography like in the way that it fits cinematography for the city, and how they set certain scenes. It looks like tells a whole story just with them just partying. So yeah, no, I think he did a great
Stay
job with the
off
music.
the weed. That
Yeah.
shit. That shit was dope. That whole little party scene was dope.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then like,
yeah.
go ahead.
I said that song "Do What I Want." I'll be bumping that like religiously on my way to.
Yeah. And then he passed out drunk. Like they give him that last shot and he take the shot and then it just immediately wakes up with an alarm. I thought those transitions was pretty dope too. I really like that in the beginning of the movie, how like it just showed he was on a whole different path of like trying to find himself and what he wanted to really do and stuff like that. It was like, okay, they want to turn my stuff into a comic book, you know what I'm saying? This, and that. And he just was like, I really just want to be my own person. I want to just try to vibe out and do my thing on my own. And that's what he kind of, he explains to his ex-girlfriend. Plus, you guys noticed that his comic is like shaking his head. His graffiti dude is like shaking his head when he's about to do the little date with the ex-girlfriend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like
Actually, I
like,
think. Oh no, go my fault. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, you good.
No, I was gonna say actually. Well, this is dumb. I'm a Kid Cudi fan, but I'm not a huge Kid Cudi fan, right? Like, I'm not the biggest one, so I don't know all the songs and all his albums like that. But it was cool that he brought back the Mr. Rager stuff from his early albums.
Yeah,
That was really cool.
Yeah, I think that the second one.
Yeah, that was the second one, man.
Album. Yeah.
Because Mr. Rager, I thought that was dope. That like Mr. Rager is like he's always in the like graffiti in the background and stuff like that, and he's literally moving, and like he's like his conscience is telling him don't do this, or you know what I'm saying. His conscience was like angry at the one dude at the comic book not the store, but what was it, the freaking department or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, he was like, you got to do it our way, or you know what I'm saying, the highway. And then like Mr. Rager was like behind him choking him like, nigga, like you should kill this nigga. Like I like that. I thought that was dope. And shout out to Keith David voicing that, one of the GOAT voice actors.
You mean Silver Throat?
Silver Throat.
That's his name. That's his name on Instagram.
Is it really?
Yeah, Silver Throat. Yeah, he actually got in a few arguments not arguments, but he responded to people on Twitter because the idea of Silver Throat at the name is kind of fucking hilarious, right? And it makes you think of some things that aren't what he's trying to say. Trying
to say. Not goat throat for sure.
Hey man, that'd been funny as hell if he did that. Like an older guy. Like I'm not on social media. I thought greatest of all time. You know what I mean? Throw like I'm the best voice actor. That's not what that mean. That's not what I mean, Unc. It's not what that mean.
I mean, still, I still think, between him and Phil Lamar, I would Phil Lamar, and Cree Summer.
Yeah.
If I was giving it to anybody, I would probably give it to Cree Summer.
Yes, sir.
But I do fuck with Phil Lamar heavy too. That's a lot. But anyway, but yeah. So how did y'all overall feel about like the whole Mr. Rager scenes and things of that nature, of the graffiti, the comic book storyline? How'd y'all feel about that part before we dive into Jessica and everything like that?
Well, when I saw Mr. Rager, I thought it was pretty cool how Kid Cudi uses like his influence. Like I don't know if Mr. Rager is like an alter ego or a character like in his head, but I know he uses it like constantly in his music. And I thought it was cool that he uses some of his influence and put it into like it fit perfectly in his animated movie. And he just showed it like you actually see what he looks like. He describes him in his music, but you can actually have a visual of like who he is and what he is. So I thought it was cool that he was using like pulling from inspirations that he already created.
Yeah.
I thought it was an interesting plot line, but I also feel like in some ways it wasn't fully realized. And I get why it wasn't, because that wasn't the story. But I just feel like sometimes it wasn't fully realized. I like it though. I do like it. I like how, again, like how Melo's saying, like, pulling from his prior influences, pulling from like his old albums like that. And I like the art for it's amazing and how it's kind of like his inner voice. Like Mr.
Mhm.
Rager's his inner voice in a way, right? He's like I was saying, his alter ego, right? But also I feel like the whole thing is just like a set piece. It's just kind of like, yeah, we put this here so it looks pretty,
Yeah.
right? So we say he's doing something, right? But because that's nowhere near the main story. I think unlike her side story with her being an artist and her cameras like that, how that comes to like the penultimate of the story. You know,
Mhm.
like him going to her showing is like really important. It's really important to her character arc and his as well. So no, I think it's good. I just I feel like it wasn't fully realized. But again, it's also not part of it. It's not really the main part of the story. So at that point, I'm just picking nose hairs, you know. So like I'm not doing, but
You know,
yeah.
I mean, how to, while we'll do it, I guess we'll do it from character standpoint. We'll start with Kid Cudi's character. His character's name is in the movie
Is it Jabari?
Jabari.
Jabari. So Jabari's character from beginning to end, I believe that there wasn't necessarily like a whole lot of crazy growth from beginning to end, but it was more so of his personality change, more so than actual growth of the character. I feel like more so of his character was just like kind of just truly just trying to get to what he really wanted to be, which was to be an artist and things of that nature. And he wanted support from his ex girlfriend Carmen or whatever, and he wanted that support, and he felt like he didn't get that, and that's why they split. They went their separate ways, and then he was falling back into that cycle of being with her almost. You know what I'm saying? Whereas she was more so trying to doll him up and have him like as a in a sense she was trying to fix him up as a fixer upper when he already felt like he was who he was, and he was you know trying to be who he was going to be. He knew what he was going to be and what he wanted to be, and he didn't want to change, but he could tell that she kind of was trying to mold him into this perfect boyfriend figure that she wanted or whatever, and it just wasn't him. And it felt like he was more so throughout this in the beginning of the story. It felt like he was more so of, I'm trying to do this for me, this is for me, this is my thing, kind of like a me thing. And on the path of that he found love with Meadow or whatever. I keep saying the
Mhm.
actual people name with Meadow. So I felt like, what I'm saying, that was his character story. If there's anything else y'all want to throw in there for Jabari.
I mean, I think for both of him and Meadow, it was the whole thing of like taking a chance, also because with his story. I mean, I guess it's like I feel like it's nothing that's repainted or redone. Like the lines are still the same lines you'll see in most love stories. You know, him trying to figure out what it means to love and like how and like also that's also kind of his arc. That's why I also feel like it's not realized all the way with this comic book is him finding passion again,
Mhm.
because after he breaks up with his his girlfriend, his ex, he like goes to the comic book thing, and they're telling him how he's supposed to do things, and he's like, I just want to do my own shit. I just want to do my own shit. I
Yeah.
want to do it the way I want to do it, but
Mhm.
everybody keeps telling me how I'm supposed to be doing what I'm supposed to do. And so when he meets her, he like finds passion, but also isn't a part like he loses, like he's not sure what to do with Mr. Rager, and he has to figure it out. And that's
Mhm.
also corresponds to his personal relationship, trying to figure it out with who he is and what he's doing.
Mhm.
So I think that yeah, I mean everything you said, but I also think it's like a lot of dealing with finding passion again and finding a way to be focused and figuring out the things that really matter in your life.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mello.
Um, when I look at Jabari as a character, I feel like he's trying to find his place in the world. I feel like he's in a lot of clusterfuck. He's like his love life, his passion. He's trying to start over, like start anew, and it's just all that mixtures of like basically what do you really want? Like what do you really want out of this life? Like you're in the
Mhm.
city, you're a bachelor, you're on your shit. Like what is everything that what are you trying to do in this life? Like what are you trying to like what do you put on this earth to do? What is your passion? What are you trying to find basically? I feel like at the when I look at his more like his character, it's like more of like it's like everything that how do I put it? Like like it's that stage where you're like in your mid 20s or like early 20s, and you're just like you're in the middle of adulthood. Like you're
Mhm.
not really like old yet, but you're just trying to set everything up to where it's like, this is what I want, where whether it's from love, work, or just hanging out with my friends, you're just finding your place in the world basically, and that's how he feels to me, and I
I
kind of
think
relate to that too.
fair enough. I think I like you guys said, he was tired of people telling him what he knew what he wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
He was tired of people trying to tell him what to do and everything like that. I think him meeting Meadow was the first time he met someone that didn't kind of like try to tell him what to do. She kind of just let him be him. And I thought that was like a cool dynamic of what he might have been looking for, because I feel like in your earlier years or whatever, everybody wants to be in love and all this other stuff. And just finding someone that loves you is the goal or whatever when you're younger. But then once you get to a certain age, late 20s, 30s, it's not even just about finding someone that loves you. You also want to find someone that loves you the way you want to be loved. And I feel like that's what he found with Meadow. You know what I'm saying? And that he didn't have with Carmen. Um, but yeah, this is enough about that. So Meadow or whatever, we meet Meadow. She's in a taxi or whatever. She's friends with Vanessa Hudgens. I don't remember which one her character was. But she's friends with Vanessa Hudgens or whatever. And you know what I'm saying? And they kind of have this like dynamic, this relationship of, you know what I'm saying, of like, go for it. He's, she's like, I'm not gonna mess with my neighbor, stuff like that. So it was like how Mello said, was it was just like they had to be open and kind of just go for it and things like that. But Meadow's character is an artist, and she does photography and things like that. So she's artsy as well, like Jabari and things like that. And for her character arc or whatever, it feels like she not only did take a chance, but she opened up where she wasn't always opening. She was more so closed off to a lot of different ideas and things like that, not jumping and taking leaps and things like that. So her character arc, I feel like she kind of opened up to Jabari. And, you know what I'm saying, as that climax happens of what happens with the discourse, she kind of felt, like she did it too soon or whatever. And I just feel like her character, I like the fact that not only does her character take that chance, but her character also realizes, you know what I'm saying, I guess, to trust Jabari after that climax happens with the Carmen situation and things like that. And he tells her straight up, you know what I'm saying, what happened. And she could have, you know what I'm saying, went her own separate ways, because a lot of people wash their hands with it and be like, no, this is just too much. And I feel like she actually took a chance. And I feel like that was something that she wasn't doing earlier on in the movie. But you guys?
I mean, with her character, I also feel like she was trying to find her place in the world as well, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm like I said, like the meetup, like they just happen to be neighbors and they just organically flow, especially like during the story. And
Mm-hmm.
she was trying to figure out, like, with her photography, her art, and she's on her path and he's on his path. And you're just like young adults trying to figure out, like, is this really like, is this what we can build to? Or, we both have similar interests and let's just vibe out with each other and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything both of y'all are saying. I think Meadows' character overall is probably my favorite. I think when we get down to like the voice acting too, I'm saying I think a lot, but we got to the voice acting. Jessica did a really good. Name Jessica, right? Right.
Yeah, Jessica Williams.
Jessica, she did a great job. When I first like listened to like when the first movie store started, it just felt like people were just talking. Like it didn't feel like, I guess, because voice acting is still acting. It's still putting on a performance with your voice, right? And so when I first said Kid Cudi, I was like, oh, this is Kid Cudi shooting the shit, right? But
Yeah.
as you get more immersed into the story, it kind of flows over, and like she does a really good job of showing her emotions through her voice, and really explaining a lot of things, like even like down to like the size or that. Like I felt really engrossed in her character in a lot of
Mm-hmm.
ways. And so with her growth, which I agree, like it kind of starts out with her being stagnant. It was kind of funny when I first saw her. It was like that whole I expect the whole spiritual girl thing. She's burning sage. She's dancing around and burning sage and shit.
Yeah.
I thought she was about to bring out some crystals. I thought she was about to place some crystals on the desk. I was like, oh, she's about to banish some evil spirits.
Yeah, I thought the typical spirituality girl. What's your zodiac sign type girl?
Yep. And so it was. I mean, it was cool. It was cool to have that that separation, I guess. Of I don't know identity, but like just to have those like her grow from being someone who's really closed off, even in her art. Like she talks about like she never took a picture of herself before or something like that. She said something like that in her art, but like as she gets to know Jabari and opens up to more experiences and life itself, she begins to appreciate herself and the people like that choose to be around her like Jabari. So yeah.
Facts. I really appreciated all that, like the spiritual and stuff too. I forgot about that part at the beginning where she did do all the spiritual stuff and staging and things like that. And it just felt like that just flowed with kind of what Jabari's character kind of is. He's kind of with the nature-esque type shit. So it just flowed with those two characters.
I got a hippie vibe from him too, low key.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and it's Kid Cudi, so
yeah. Chilling, smoking weed.
Yeah. All right, so we'll talk about Kai and Jimmy, who is T.Y. Dolla $ign and Timothy, the two friends of Jabari. How'd y'all like about those characters? I thought T.Y. Dolla $ign was fucking hilarious. And then when he told his story about the Russian girl, like this movie definitely gave me loops and twists and turns because I try to watch stuff before I recommend it to Skylar. So I was watching this movie and I was all like, dang, I might let Skylar watch this. And then the Russian girl scene came and I was like, damn.
Cannot let her watch that. No.
But like early on in the movie when it was just the stage and stuff like that, I was like, look, cousin, look, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. I think it'll be all right. And it just took over. And I was like, dang. And then when Cudi and Jessica started having their love situation and they had their few sex scenes, I was like, dang, I really can't make her watch this. Let her watch this. Because I was like, it's a good story so far. But I thought that fucking washroom scene was funny as shit. And that laundromat shit. And then I thought it was funny that the ice came or whatever. He was all like, and then ice came and he said she was doing ice. Like he like the dress. Like I thought that whole like story was funny as fuck.
I don't know, man. Ty Dolla $ign might got a future in voice acting. That man was good. I think he was a good foil. And like I only heard Ty Dolla $ign speak a few times. I think I think the best time in voice actors is when you forget that they're acting in a sense, right? Same thing like when you're watching a movie, right? You get so engrossed in the story and everything that's going on that you forget that you're watching a movie. I think he did a perfect job of that. He was a perfect, funny friend. Perfect. Yeah, I mean, I think Timothy Chalamet did a good job too. But like Ty Dolla $ign's a perfect, funny friend. I think they used him just enough. Like, cause sometimes they look too much into the funny friend. They used him just enough that like it wasn't overbearing and everything like that. So yeah, I think he did a great job. And that washing machine was perfect, but that also goes to me talking about the animation, which I'll talk about later. But
yeah,
but yeah, I feel like their friends fit perfectly. I mean, they were funny. The washing machine, like y'all said before, is like it was super hilarious. And how he's like, oh, the feds came for her. They had to deport her back.
Yeah. He said they thought I was working for the Russian spy or whatever. But like I thought all the friends were funny too because they also had Jaden Smith in there for like a quick little minute or whatever. But it was like I thought all the friends were pretty funny. They were well placed in the way that they kind of interacted with Jabari and tried to tell him like don't do it or do it, like that advice that they were trying to give him for his love life or whatever in his relationship. And even Ty Dolla
Oh no, I will say no one gave him bad advice. I don't think anybody gave him bad advice.
Well,
they gave him advice, but not bad advice.
Like Ty was like, "Don't never mess with your roommates. I mean, anybody that live in your building." He tells the story, and then as soon as he see her at the bar, he like, "Man, forget all that shit." he's like, "Fuck all that shit." And he was like, "She bad." He's like, "Go get her."
Better smash that shit, nigga.
I was like, "That's a real friend." Like, he's like, "I said that shit." He's forget all that. Forget all that. So, I fucked
That's
with
what that. Yeah, I feel like even at the skate park, the friends at the skate park was cool, and that was a funny interaction too with the kids and everything like that. And he was like, you ghosted her. You can't just ghost her. You should say so." He said, "I should." He said, "I did. I mean, I didn't think I had to." But like, I think that like it was like I want to say one thing about this movie is that we talk about lots of like seeing black love movies and stuff like that, but I think not only black, but positive messages, right? That there is no real struggle. There's no real struggle in this movie. We don't see nobody out there eating on the floor with some piece of body's homeless and shit. There's no struggle in this movie. And even the jokes with the kids, the black kids, like that, ain't no jokes about struggle, none of that. Like that, it's all honestly a good message. It's all honestly good message. Even when he's getting advice from the kids like that, he's like, you can't just ghost her, man. Like that's messed up. That's fucked up. You can't just ghost her, Shaw. You gotta say something to her. You got at least give her shoot a little text message. Be like, hey, Shaw, I'm cool enough, right? Like it gave good messages. Like so, that's why I feel like no one really gave bad advice. They gave different advice.
Yeah,
but no one really gave bad advice in like my opinion, which I think is really awesome with the friends and like that. Like it all felt like no part of this movie felt negative. Like it all felt positive. Like through like the whole interactions and everything that was going on.
There was no malicious intent in everything with their conversations and stuff like that. Whereas on the other side, girls' friends, like Vanessa Hudgens was cool, but then her like boyfriend or something like that was like, or her husband and shit like that. They had a freaking funny ass story too of how they met. And
the ninja shit. Yeah, the ninja.
She was like, let's go to the bathroom. It's like, what? It's like
she said, you gonna miss out on this? I'm back in 5 minutes. You better be in there with me.
I was like, bro, what kind of dates are they going on? Do I need to be in New York? Like, is this
where the ninja bathroom at? They don't check the bathrooms? I'm trying to be up in that home. What's up with it?
Yeah, but I know the first time, was it the first time that her husband met Jabari or whatever? He was all like Jabari was on edge, like, I'm like, that nigga need a blunt. Like he was all like, he said he touched him.
Nigga, you mean
he touched him for half a second. He was like, hey man, don't touch me, don't put your hands on me. I was like, dang. I was like
chill, brother. Come on, that's serious.
But yeah, so that couple was cool. That's all the family and the friends and all that stuff. I think other than that, Carmen was like the only other character that we didn't touch on. And to me, I think that she was kind of different. I don't know what was going on with her character because at the same time she was like the ex-girlfriend. She was trying to be aggressive and get her boyfriend back or whatever, I guess.
Well, I feel like it's for her. It's I'll say this. And this is why I say this always has like good positive messages, right? In a sense with relationships. I mean, you can honestly follow Jabari's playbook and get you a shawty for real. I ain't gonna cap. You struggling getting some shawties? Follow the Jabari playbook. All right. That man was spitting and doing exactly what he's supposed to do, right? But with Carmen, it comes to this playground like where having relationships with an ex can be very tricky, especially when you honestly do not have the same feelings that you used to have, right? It's different if y'all friends with benefits. It's different if y'all chilling like that. But they broke up and they had that scene where they had sex again. And she thought when he said, I'm trying to focus myself to that, she thought that to mean that, you focus on yourself, but we're going to be back together. We're going to get back together. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get back together. That's what it's going to be. And in his mind, he's like, yo, I just want to be friends. I just want to be cool. I just want to chill. I'm not down to, like, I don't want to be with you. But he didn't say that. He didn't say that. He said, how about we just be friends? I want to focus on myself. That's not what he meant. And so, like, that's why when the second time, when I think that's a good thing what happens with Meadow and everything, right? And he has to go back and be real. Gotta be fucking for real, right? With it and be like, hey, I don't want to be with you. I may have said before that I'm trying to focus on myself, but I realized that it wasn't I'm trying to focus on myself. I didn't find somebody that loved me for myself. And that wasn't you. And so but he should have been straight up from the jump and said that. Right. Instead of dancing around and saying, "Oh, let's be friends," because y'all can be friends, but you got to be real. You got to be real from the jump. But Jabari, you got the playbook though. If y'all looking for some shawties, y'all want to get a shawty. Y'all trying to date a shawty. Follow the Jabari playbook. That man did it play by play, style by style. He did a good job.
I think one of his friends said it's something about like ex-girlfriends. As soon as you get like this, like he was like, as soon as you get this good news, she pops up. And I think like at first he was like, oh, that's Jabari. That's my ex. And she was probably like trying to rekindle some stuff. That was her initial goal. But then when he told her, like, you know what I'm saying, at that little bar or whatever, he kind of told her, like, yeah, they picking up my stuff to be a comic, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. And she was like, oh, this dude that I like went through the struggle with, you know what I'm saying? And I kind of like helped him and molded him along. If he ended up being successful without me, that kind of frustrates, you know what I'm saying? That might frustrate her a little bit. Now, I'm not sure if that was her initial thoughts, but it kind of felt that.
I felt like them breaking up wasn't her choice. Obviously, she didn't want to, and two, it's the idea that we get really comfortable. We get really comfortable in relationships. Like we get like to the frighteningly comfortable to the fact that we're with somebody that no longer challenges us, try to challenge us, or anything like that. And I think that's the relationship that we're in. And so when he started doing comics like that, she saw the aspiration in him that initially brought her to him. And also she was comfortable with him. She's like, you already know my parents. You met my parents. They know you. They ask about you. Like you come into my crib killing rats. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do that with anybody else. I got you. So him not being real and not being shit from the jump saying, hey, yo, I don't want to be with you. You're not the one I want to be with. I realized that's what really messed up the whole deal. That's what messed up the whole deal. So.
Yeah, like that was one of them things where, and then like the first day that they had sex, she was like putting him on the phone with his mom.
Yeah,
it was just like
my mom said, "You come to dinner tonight," and he like, "Hey yo, this is a mistake. I think this is a mistake. Now I think about it."
Yeah. Man. So I thought that was wild too. Yeah, and then when she sent the selfie in the hoodie,
I was like, "Dang, Shawty,
she know what she was doing, bro." But like, obviously, she didn't know that he had a girl or nothing like that. But she knew what she was doing when she did that and stuff like that. So
she wanted him to slide through and smash them yams. That's what she wanted him to do.
In the hoodie.
In the hoodie. She wanted him to text back, keep the hoodie on, I'm coming.
Yeah, fresh clap cheeks.
But she thought she was gonna get his ass back. I mean, that's what she says though. She says that she's like, yeah, I'm kind of talking to somebody. She said, you talking to somebody? I thought you was waiting. She thought you was making it better for her, and I think that's a problem a lot of people have. You know what I'm saying? They think that y'all take a break and then they get. But actually, there was a movie my girl was watching where this happened, where the girl and the guy took a break off the girl. The girl said that the girl said she wanted to take a break, and the guy found somebody within like a few months. Like they've been taking a break for like 2 months, and he found somebody else to go out with. And it's like, and she's like, "What? Why would you? Like, I thought we were just taking a break." He's like, "Nah, you said that we weren't right for each other." So now I started thinking maybe you're right, maybe we aren't. And then I found somebody else who feels more right to me. So she didn't think that was gonna happen.
So when they first was having like the little love sequence between Jabari and Meadow, that felt like they were like in love and going through it for like months, right? And then when he reenacted with his ex, she was like, well, just a couple of weeks ago, you fucked me. I was like, dang, a couple of weeks? I was like, it's only been like 2 weeks. It felt like these niggas been in love forever.
Like a month. They didn't went on like 6 trips in 2 weeks. I was like, damn. Y'all think, yo, that's no struggle. There was no struggle at all. No struggle. They hopped on the train and said, we going anywhere. They had no car. They said, we going anywhere. They went everywhere and anywhere. Yeah. Funny as hell, man. Funny as hell.
Sorry about that, fellas.
You figured it out, G? You figured it out?
Yeah. You're struggling a little bit. I was like, oh, shit. But
you got anything to say, man? You be following the Jabari playbook? You be following the Jabari playbook to get you some bitches?
Hit on my neighbor?
Whoa. Young ladies.
Yeah, young women.
Women.
Oh, young tenderonis?
Young tenderonis. Yes.
What the kids would call geese these days.
The geese?
Hey, man.
Well, yeah. Like, that timeline was just real misconstrued, though, to me, like, the first time I watched it. I thought
it was at least a month. At least a month.
Bro, I thought
she said 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, bro, I thought they was like 6 months in or something like that when him and old girl was messing around. And she was like, you were just fucking me 2 weeks ago. I was like, yo. I was like, that nigga spent 14 days straight with her. He had to. She is next door neighbor, so it makes sense. But
hey, when they in close proximity, you start doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You lose concept of time real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, love will do that to you.
I don't think he heard what we was talking about. We was Talk about Carmen, his ex, and how he low key he didn't mean to. It was unintentionally led her on, right? And then realized he had to cut it off. He had to snip it in the bud. He unintentionally led her on, and then once he did, you know what I mean, she got the deal. But like the whole time she thought that nigga was taking a break to come back to her. He thought that they was taking a little, you know, a little vacation from the relationship. When in real life, that man did not want to be with her no more. He's like, man, he's like, you good, you cool and all, but I'm moving on to greener pastures, right? And so yeah.
And by green pastures, he meant somebody he could smoke with, because him and Meadow was smoking together and everything. They was living it up.
She had that boy eating vegan burgers.
Bro, she did have him eating vegan burgers. Then made him paint on a billboard how much he loved that vegan burger. That's real love. Paint on a McDonald's billboard a vegan burger. That's crazy. But yeah, so I know you wanted to touch on animation, so let's go ahead and touch on animation, Aaron. I know you be.
You know, I'm like an animation file. You know what I'm saying? I love me some animation. I would say this animation to me is we get to the point where like Netflix is at this point making some really high quality animation, right? And they've also had some misses, and they're going to have some misses next year and the year after. I saw, you know, to them, some of them Jones gonna be misses. I can already tell, but some of the hosts gonna be misses. But they've been doing a really good job of you know, giving us more animation titles that aren't just Japanese, right? And so with this, like I think, and Melicon said it earlier, you know, adult animation, stuff like that, this is kind of where we need more of, right? And the fact that Intergalactic was a critical success, let's say, I'm looking right now, Rotten Tomatoes give it 96%, IMDb gave it 7.5, right? That, which I still think is fair. I think anything above a 7 is fair. If you give below a 7, you hating. You get a movie below a 7, you hating, right? But yeah, I think this is kind of where we should be trending with American animation, right? Which kind of sucks that it feels like we're not. At some ways we are, and in a lot of ways we aren't, right? HBO Max, you know, merging CN with their animation division, with Cartoon Network acting like it's all real, but we know what HBO be doing. We know what Warner Bros. Be doing behind the scenes on the American side. So, excuse me. So like that, and then even like with, you know, other animation companies being folded into one, just like that. Disney Plus taking Bleach, like outside the US, Hulu in the US, and stuff like that. Animation's in a really weird place right now, right? And so for a movie like Entergalactic come out, look fantastic. The animation is amazing. Like it's about like in the way that it's for me. This is one of those things that feel like even though I would still dub it as kind of like a visual for the album, because that's just how I feel after listening to the album and watch the movie. I still, at the same time, it's a real animated movie that does a lot of things that we don't always see in American animated movies. In DreamWorks, you see it every once in a while. And Blue Sky Studios, do they exist anymore? I don't know if they exist anymore.
Blue Sky?
Disney, they're part of Disney now.
They're part of Disney now. No, they got a part of Disney and they got laid off. But anyway, and then I can't think of like other bigger like US studios. We see it every once in a while, but this one we have the part where he's talking about the washing machine and the whole art style changes. The whole art style, animation style changes. They talk about the ninja restaurant where they meet each other. The whole art style, animation style changes. And then when you see the difference between when he's having that internal conversation with him and Mr. Rager, the animation style is the same. Art style is basically the same, but art style is the same, but the way they animate Mr. Rager against, you know, Jabari is entirely different and gives a different feel and gives that his shadow, his inner thoughts, his inner conscious, that idea of it. And so we have this like animation marvel. Intergalactic to me, even though it looks like it's animated in 10 frames per second sometimes, it's not always fluid. A lot of the times it's stunning. And I think the art style is, there's a few, when we look at the city, there's that one part, and this scene, it sticks in my head, when we're at the party scene and the, you know, the camera rotates them on a thing. And it's a callback to another, callback to a few movies that does this thing when like people are drinking and they're lit, all that shit. And it turns on them doing drugs and whatever, right? And it's a beautiful shot that's even more beautiful because of the way it's animated. The lighting, the art style, the direction. You could have paused at any moment and it would still been a beautiful shot within that. And so this is the kind of animation we need more in the United States, in the UK, in the Western world, that has it's adult, has adult themes, and is marketed to adults. This wasn't marketed to kids. Like this was not marketed to kids. Like even Wendell in the Wild by Jordan Peele is more marketed to kids, but more probably teens to young adults. But this is marketed to adults, for adults, animated like it's for adults, and it's what we need more of.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my biggest part about it. Yeah, I keep talking about it. That's my biggest part about it. I think this is it's a stunning animation and it's marketed perfectly. And we need more of this. We need more stories because not everything needs to be live action. And some shit just you get the right animation studio and it looks amazing.
Yeah. So what I really loved about it just being that animated thing, and like you said, with Netflix putting out some animated things, it's like they hidden on these animated series. And honestly and truthfully, when I saw the timeline kind of like talking about Intergalactic, I thought that it was going to be a series. I had no idea that it was a movie. So even when I pressed play, I was like, dang, this is a long first episode. And then I paused it for half a second. I was like, oh, it's a movie. Okay, cool. So I was all like, I was thinking I was getting a TV series, like a 6 episode thing or something like that. But it's like with that animation and for that, the quality and everything that you were getting, and I was like, okay, for this is a movie, it's a condensed piece. You know what I'm saying? And then we had like Cyberpunk. And then we also had the Arcane. And then we also had, Scissor 7 movie and things like that. Like, there's a lot of different art styles that Netflix has given us, and it's like they all are like hidden at this point. And it's like for this one was just another ode to that of just like, yo, we got more art styles and things like that with a different studio under Netflix. And I feel like while WB is cutting their stuff, Netflix really should capitalize on that. HBO Max is cutting all their stuff with WB and stuff like that. It's cutting all their cartoons and canceling all these shows. I think this is where Netflix should capitalize because right now I think Netflix was struggling a little bit and hurting. But what they're not hurting wise is on their animation and stuff like that. So I think they should capitalize and give us more animation to make up for the cuts that other streaming services is doing. I think that would be their bread and butter if they did that.
I mean, if you ask me, Netflix need to grab the DC animated division. I'm just saying, man. I'm just shooting some shit out the water. They grab the animated division. They go ahead and grab Cloverworks, and they make us a DC anime. I'm just man. I'm just kind of talking. I'm talking. Y'all gotta listen.
To do that, they should also grab a lot of those Cartoon Network projects because they canceled Craig of the Creek now. Like they canceled.
What?
They can't get Craig of the Creek and Jessica's Big World, the spinoff. They both half the next season. They only asked for half the order, which usually means it's going to get canceled.
Yep, they cut that other show that was pretty good on Netflix. I mean on HBO Max too. It was like this Imagination World or something like that. I can't remember what it's called.
I know you're talking about that.
That was pretty good. The people that made regular show had a show called
Close Enough.
Close Enough, which I liked. Close Enough.
That's another adult.
Close Enough is pretty funny. They canceled that. Like they getting rid of everything, and I feel like if I'm like the people that's in Netflix, like the marketing right now, I would be pitching that right now. I'm like, look, are you watching this and you seeing the uproar that there's causing on Twitter and stuff like that? I'll be like, we need to get on this. We need to put out, or put out more stories, sign a few more things. You know what I'm saying? Talk to Kid Cudi or other artists that probably is thinking about it because all of a sudden Idris Elba wanted his own anime. You know what I'm saying? All these other people are trying to capitalize on anime anyway. Why don't you just reach out to them and then just capitalize on it and get all those fans that HBO Max is going to lose?
Because it's good. Because there's a lot of things that are changing. Adult Swim with WB. So I'm pretty sure it's because of WB. Because Adult Swim is second part of WB. Because by CN, Adult Swim has canceled the next season for Shenmue anime. It's more than likely not going to have another season of Fina, Pirate Warrior Princess, and it's not going to have another season of another anime they came out with. I think we were supposed to talk about it in the news a few weeks ago, but Adult Swim is no longer showing it on their sites, and there's almost no future for more seasons for a lot of the anime that they've already created. Because there's no due deals being written, right? So, but you can still watch them on Crunchyroll, but you can't watch them on Adult Swim's website anymore. So, besides Crunchyroll, for the true mainstream platforms doing anime, that have streaming services, there's really only one that's doing anime, and that is Netflix, or doing even dedicated anime content. Even though Netflix has laid off so many animators the past year, doing dedicated animation content, is Netflix. Paramount Plus isn't doing it. WB is laying people off en masse and canceling shows en masse. Disney Plus, it does have anime shows, but those are they haven't been making too many new ones. Most stuff they're making is either remakes or they're just adding more to their service. Like the last new one they got was Visions. Visions is a fucking amazing though. The studios who did Visions to do What If. I'm just saying, what if animation was cool, but that shit was low key trash. Anyway, but Netflix is the only one that's consistently giving us animated content that's Western and Eastern.
Yeah.
And they should just take. I mean, although I'm not a man for Monopoly, but at this point, somebody needs to show people that if Demon Slayer, and this is something make Demon Slayer quality, if Demon Slayer was dropped on streaming 3 months after it premiered in the US, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. Demon Slayer would have crashed sites. Demon Slayer would have crashed Crunchyroll it would have been like Dragon Ball Super. Demon Slayer would have crashed Crunchyroll. All right, if it dropped on Netflix, it would have crashed Netflix. Netflix would have never. They wouldn't even know what to do with that influx of people at one time.
And it's the same thing with even like Disney. I think Disney is starting to see it and try to capitalize on it because they took Summertime Ringer and they took Bleach, and I think those are two huge.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Platforms and things like that. Like, so taking those two are like big old things. So Disney decided to do that. But you had HBO Max even had like the We Bare Bears. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but they ended up having like a spinoff, like a kid version of the Bear Bears as kids or whatever. And that shit was already at like 42 episodes. So they was gonna end up taking off, you know what I'm saying, with that show. I think they had another show, the Total Drama Island shit.
The remake, they're doing a remake for that, aren't they?
Yeah, they did another one with kids versions of that. So they were starting to bring back that wave of like Tom and Jerry kids, Flintstone kids, Scooby Doo.
Yeah, like Baby Tunes and shit.
Yeah, they were bringing their own. They was bringing that back, and it actually was real successful. My kids watch fucking HBO Max. They watch those shows all the time. Those two in specific. So I'm like, they were on a roll. I just don't understand what they're doing by canceling the whole cartoon department. I just don't understand that. So. To your point, like I feel like Netflix should capitalize on it. And I feel like they're doing a good job as far as like giving us Cyberpunk for the people that like Tekken. I didn't really love that Tekken TV series.
I didn't like it that much either.
Yeah,
I feel like they speed ran Tekken. I was like, y'all could have gave us 3 seasons of what they gave us in like 8 episodes.
Yeah, but like
they could really dive into it, but they chose not to.
They gave us the Arcane, they gave us Cyberpunk, they gave us Tekken, they gave us even the JoJo's Part 6. Part 6. They're doing like, you know what I'm saying? They're giving us Blue Period, Comey Can't Communicate. They're giving us stuff, and they're giving us things not only on the Japanese side but the American side. And that this Kid Cudi Intergalactic is, you know what I'm saying, that American side that they're giving us, and I like it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but I always say this. I feel like even though I love being able to watch anime on Netflix, like I don't know if I love that. This is something I can do, right? Watch anime on Netflix. The successes of things like Cyberpunk and Arcane, what I'm talking about, means that there is a want, there is a desire, there is an audience to tell American stories in anime fashion, or in just really well animated fashion. Whoever they have working on them anthologies, what's it called? The Love, Death, Robot anthologies. Why don't all them studios got anime?
I forgot about animation. Love, Death, and Robots. That shit too.
Every single animation in Love, Death, and Robots, every single part is phenomenal. Whether you like the theme of the episode, whether you like the episode or not, whatever, cool. Who gives a fuck? Every single one is phenomenal. And the fact that not every single one of those studios has their own show or multiple movies, something like that, on the platform is insane to me. I'm sorry. I know they have ideas to pitch. I know they do. Come on now.
Bro, Love, Death, and Robots. Honestly and truthfully, some of those, and it kind of feels like what was some of the shows like Cartoon and things like that, where it was like one of those shows that had this thing and they pitching.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like they kind of pitching a series in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would love to see a second or a third episode of some of those little episodes that we got in Love, Death, Robots. So it's like I feel like they're low key pitching a storyline if they really wanted to, and can use these to make actual stories onto Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Same
How
thing
do
with
you,
Visions.
how you feel about animation in Netflix? By the way, Mello, because I know we've been
Yeah, we've been.
talking. Mhm.
I definitely feel like, especially like when y'all guys was talking about Intergalactic, like the art style is like I know a lot of people were comparing it to Spider-Verse,
Mm-hmm.
like Into the
Gotcha.
Spider-Verse. There's
Yeah.
some similarities too. I mean, it takes place in New York.
Mhm.
Um, I will honestly, I was I was very impressed how they captured the young adult feel. Like we can talk about like adults and like it's creative, but I feel like they're not teenagers, they're not old, but they're young adults. And I
Mhm.
feel like it captured the vibe and the whole atmosphere perfectly. And
Yeah.
not only that, because like you can peep like for example, he had the Yeezys on his feet,
Mhm.
and you if you paid it like if you like you could see like little paying homages to Virgil because he had the off white, and at
Mhm.
the end you see the billboard with Virgil at the end,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of off white from his clothing brand. So I was like, and I know Kid Cudi, he was friends with him, so I was like, okay. So I'm like, and they did a good job like capturing what he represented too, like the whole like the urban fashion down in New York. So I mean, so back to the animation. I mean, shoot, Netflix is doing a great job, like you guys said, like being Puppy Cat that has that Steven Universe Adventure Time art style. They have
Fact.
they got the like I said, the Intergalactic. They got the anime with cyberpunk and everything. Like they're like they were. There was a time in Cartoon Network where people were saying like Gravity Falls, Gumball, Steven Universe. They have this similar art style, but like in the mid 2000s, early 2000s, you had like Courage the Cowardly Dog, Kids Next Door, and
Mhm.
um, My Gym Partner was a Monkey Foster. Those had different art styles, and I
Fact.
feel like Netflix is kind of bringing it back, where it's like a certain character looks a certain way. They have now it's like more unique and it's
Mhm.
like different, or like even like you guys were saying with the whole Jordan Peele movie that stop animation that's like similar to Coraline.
Yeah, that's coming out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it's nice to see like it's not a copy and paste now. It feels more innovative like it was back in the early 2000s, mid
Mhm.
2000s. So it's like it's really dope to see everybody put their own twist in animation, whether it's from the east or from the west.
Facts.
I agree.
This is big
I agree.
facts. And I even with Cuphead, I for one was disappointed with Cuphead, but
100%. I'm so glad I said that 100% because
Cuphead, a lot of people are like loving Cuphead. Like Cuphead is a hit. And I don't know if they didn't play the game or what, but I really thought that we were going to get an adventure story of them collecting the souls. That's what I thought we were going to get. And instead we're getting like each episode is its own episode.
self-contained. Yeah, more
Yeah.
like we got like we're getting like more like a Saturday morning cartoon show or something like that versus
Right.
like a really story driven. But even though I'm okay with the personalities for the character, it helps. I think it makes sense. They feel like brothers, but
Mhm.
like I was expecting that too. When I first watched the first part, I was kind of like, I mean, it's cool. I was like,
Yeah.
it's
I was like,
cool.
so I was disappointed. I'm not gonna lie, and it's because of my expectations, not because I
Mhm.
was disappointed in the show itself,
Yeah.
but I was disappointed in my expectations because I was like, "Oh, we getting a Cuphead show. We're literally gonna get them collecting the souls and stuff like that." And I thought that shit was gonna be fire.
And low key though, I do think it's also Netflix misunderstanding who's playing the Cuphead game, because
Mhm.
ain't I'm be real, Cuphead show is necessarily marketed probably to middle schoolers, like people who's watching Cartoon Network and
Yeah.
Nickelodeon still daily, right?
Mhm.
None of those kids is playing the actual Cuphead game. I'm sorry, they're
Nope.
not doing it. They're not doing it. They don't got the hand-eye coordination yet.
You
They don't got
can't.
the
You
patience.
can't be playing this
They're,
game.
like there's definitely some that are, and there's definitely probably some that beat it. But majority has no clue what the fuck Cuphead is. Or the only time they've heard it is when they heard they parents or their dad screaming at the TV, fucking Cuphead. And you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
One of their parents probably broke the TV once or twice because you don't know. But that's for that my sidebar. But yeah, I think that's them kind of also misunderstanding who's playing the game. Like, because I feel like maybe, like I said, they might not have played the game themselves, and they might have been like, they might have heard the story, or like the story writers told them about it like that, and they was like, oh yeah, this sounds like it really be a good kid show, not knowing that kids aren't the ones playing the fucking game. But I mean, yeah, I don't think it's bad, but yeah, just the same thing. I had different expectations for it.
They just got like a lot of like y'all said. I mean, we can go on and on about how many shows that they got, because they got a few more shows on there that they continuing to push out. But all in all, I'm loving what Netflix is doing with their animation department, and I love the fact that while other studios and other companies are cutting their budget, they're still pushing out new content and bringing it out.
They're extending theirs.
Yeah.
So, my last part I want to say is we talk about, like, so we all love slice of life anime, right? Mm-hmm. We all love slice of life, right? Right. Okay. We all love slice of life. We do. Make sure you valid. Make sure you valid. So you know what's missing really on the Western front when it comes to animation is true slice of life animation, right? We don't see that, right? We either get zany, cartoony, super serious, or action packed. One of the three. We only get one. We don't get anything in between those, right? Yeah. And this was a really good look into slice of life. I really love that. And I love that the first one we really had that wasn't a princess movie, which is kind of fantasy anyway. All those are really fantasy movies with romance. Okay. It was, a black love story. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's really great that we got that, on the animated front, because we're still struggling to get that consistently live action wise. But one of the biggest, I would say, slice of life animated movies to be made for the Western audience is a black love story. Because I can't really think of the last one that I would quantify as just slice of life, as just these niggas living life, falling in love, slice of life, romance, whatever, romance, slice of life, whatever. It's just doing that kind of stuff. So like we don't really see that very often. It's usually fantasy, Princess and the Frog, Cinderella, magic pumpkins, beast, a man that turned into a beast. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't really think of other stories that are focused on the lifestyle and the romance that comes from living that kind of life. And so, yeah.
Yeah, see, that's why it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, I really just love the originality of it. Mm-hmm. It came off really original, and it's like, and thank God it was black people working on it because there's no fucking stereotypes.
Bro, yeah, thank God it was, like you said, black people working on it and making sure to give the dialogue for it as well, because you could have gotten the Miles Morales Thor bullshit like by Odin Spade type shit and stuff like that. So the dialogue and everything just seemed like it was for us by us.
Yeah, I'm always 50-50 when it comes to Kenya Barris, who was one of the executive producers. I'm always 50-50 on him. I feel like at times that man do be living the paper bag test. I'm just saying, sad times it be happening. I'll be looking at him, I'm like, Kenya, come on. But for this one, I think it's, I mean, I think it's fine. Like, I think he did a good job with it. Like, it didn't really feel like there's any bias or any skew to like, shade or anything like that. Like black people, or I fuck with that. So
overall, what are we ranking the movie? Out of 5.
Out of 5?
Out of 5.
Okay, out of 10. Out of 10. 10 flames. We do the flame scale. So out of flames.
Out of flames.
Not 10 stars. 10 flames. What do we do?
Flames. Oh, I say, damn, almost like 8.5.
8.5.
Let's see.
I was gonna say 8. I was gonna say 8 flames.
Let's see. I don't remember what score I gave it when I'm on my
Oh, you already did a review.
I did review. I did like a little review joint on our Instagram, and I don't remember what score I gave it. And I think I accidentally forgot to. I put it in there, but Instagram be having glitches. Instagram be glitching. Shit be happening. It's not my fault. Yeah. I think give like a 75 or 80%. So like, if we're talking about out of flames, what about 4 flames? 3.5 to 4 flames? Yeah, 3.5 to 4 flames. I think. Yeah. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's
out of 10, not out of 5. Bro, because I was about to say
7.5 to 8 flames. You know what I'm saying, man?
I was about to say a 3. I know you didn't. I was about to say I know you're joking.
I thought we was going back to 5. I messed with you. Okay. But yeah, 7.5 to 8 flames, I think is think it's a very solid movie, and I think if you gave it more than that, I wouldn't disagree with you. Like I wouldn't sit here and fight you if you was like, "Oh, no, I give it a 10." I'd be like, "You think it's perfect?" I would give you the think it's perfect, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I respect it. You know what I'm saying? I respect it. So
I love the movie. I like literally. I watched it and I immediately ran it back, and then I watched it like 2 more times leading up to this review. So
yeah, it definitely has replay value. I wouldn't mind watching it again.
Yes, and it's stuff like I said, it's stuff that in there that you didn't catch the first time that you'll catch on your second rewatch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, that is a review. Let's plug our socials and our pods. Go ahead, Aaron.
as I said, my name is Aaron, aka the Anime Anthology from Black Anime, BLXXK Anime. You can find us everywhere. You on, unless you on Parlor, I can't help you. We never gonna be on there. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't fuck with the vision. But we can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch. You can find us on Black Anime Gaming. I've been big on that lately. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us, like I said, Instagram, Twitter, and on any podcasting site. You can find us. We've got over 100 episodes. We've just never numbered them that way. It's fucking insane. Like 120. We had like 4 seasons. Never numbered them that way. But check us out. And I'm working on this new project that's coming out next month. The boy Scuba Steve is on it. We got some other people on it. It's gonna be something special. It's gonna be something special. I love putting on people I work with and doing everything I can to help uplift the culture. So it's gonna be something special. All right, things is moving. So we fuck with y'all. Glad to be on here with Mello. Haven't talked to Mello in like forever. I've talked to this nigga forever. So glad to see this nigga. Glad to talk to him. So I appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir. Mello.
Yeah. So you can always find me on Geek World Podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcast platforms. And I'm also check out my Twitter at melodic_954, Instagram geek_world_podcast. That's WRLD. We spell it like Juice World, and talk about comic books, anime, video games, cartoons, all that good nerd shit. Yes, it was a pleasure being on here, talking with the homies. I didn't see them in a while, but yeah, man. Appreciate you for having me on Power Pod.
Of course, man, and appreciate y'all for pulling up. I am Scuba Steve 1428. By the time you're hearing this, our Kickstarter should have wrapped up by now. So we already, I'm speaking into existence. We successfully, did a Kickstarter. We passed it or whatever. And yeah, man. So shout out to Concept Moon. Shout out to Project Moonlight. Shout out to everybody that is listening to us, that supports us, week in and week out. It's about, I think we was like 58 now. We were in like the 70s. I don't know what we did, but you other 12 people come back. We love y'all. But yeah, man. With that being said, hit mob out. Peace.
Peace.